usual. There we go, let's turn that down. Welcome to another album ranking here on RTO with me, Ian. Today is part 5. Was it? No, part 6 of the Sammy Hagar story. We've done Montrose, Van Halen, his solo stuff. We've done Warbos, and now we've reached a band called Chickenfoot. This is one of them little super group bands formed in 2008, and it is Sammy Hagar who got back together with the bassist, ex-bassist of Van Halen, Michael Anthony, guitarist Joe Satriani, and Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith. The band got its name about the 3 talons on a chicken foot, which is totally bizarre, but there you go. Yeah, they've only made 2 albums. Obviously, when you've got someone that's in a very popular band, i.e. Chad Smith, he was busy, so was Joe Satriani. So they didn't make too many albums. They've made 2 studio albums and they made a live album. We're going to rank the 2. I'm going to rank the 2 studios, and we're going to do an honourable mention on the live album because it's a really good live album. So, coming in at number 2, we have Chickenfoot III. Not the only band to name their second album 3. Travelling Wilburys did it as well. This one was released in 2011, and the first track on it is called Last Temptation. Now this starts off with a great Joe Satriani guitar solo, a really good guitar player. We will be looking at the career of Joe Satriani at some stage. I've looked up what he'd been in. He's been in quite a lot, so that's one for another story later down the line. And Sammy sounds great on this. His voice is consistent. It doesn't wane. He's looked after his voice. It's a great track. Just a great rock and roll track. Then we get All Right, All Right. That bass line from Michael. Oh, this is going back to those days with Van Halen. There's that real nice bass that Mr. Anthony came up with. And Chad Smith's drumming on here was brilliant. I mean, I think Chad Smith is a great drummer. He's just got... he beats a different, especially when he's with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But he's very tight drummer, and that's a really good track again. Different Devil. This is one of those little radio friendly tracks. I've got no problem with this because it's got a great guitar solo. You've got some great backing vocals from Michael, great backing singer. And it's just great to hear Hagar and Anthony playing and singing together again. It was really, really good. Then we get Up Next. Love the riff in this one. Absolutely belter from Joe. And you just get another solid drum performance from Chad. Then we get my favourite track on here, and it's called Lighten Up. Purely because the solo sounds very Van Halen. This could have been a Van Hagar sort of track. It is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant track. Come Closer is the next one. Probably the weakest track on this album. It's not a particular favourite of mine, but I do like some of Joe's guitar licks. They are really, really good. 3.5 Letters. Another classic bass line from Michael. It's just great Sammy vocal as well. It's just great. There's nothing better than half of Van Hagar playing on this album. It's a treat. Great track. Then we get Bigfoot. Great. Joe's riffing is great in this. Chad's brilliant drumming. And another fine performance on the vocals. So Mr. Hagar. Dubai Blues. Again, it is just great riffs and licks. What a guitar player Joe is. He is the man. I love listening to him playing on stuff. I mean, he filled in when Richie Blackmore left Deep Purple in the middle of a tour. Up come Joe to carry on with Deep Purple, and he did a fine performance. If you've ever seen any of the Deep Purple tracks with Joe playing on it on YouTube, he does a great job. It's a shame that he didn't stay in, but he was so committed. I think that's why he didn't do it on a permanent basis, because he was so committed with other stuff. And then the next track is Something Going Wrong. A nice little gentle rock track here. Acoustic guitar work is good. Nice solo. Nice way to end the album. There's nothing wrong with this album. It's number 2, but I don't know. This was just hard. They're both as good. Joe's solid on here. His guitar work is amazing. Chad's drumming is fantastic as well. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. So, number 1, it is the debut album, just called Chickenfoot. And it was released in 2009. First track on here is called Avinda Revolution. What a start. Starts off with some great drumming from Chad, some great lyrics from Sammy. Great little track. Soap on a Rope. This is just sort of typical sort of Sammy Hagar solo territory here. It's just a great catchy tune, some great riffs from Joe. Brilliant stuff. Then we get a track called Sexy Little Thing. Great bass line from Michael. Drives the song along. And great guitar work from Joe on this. Everyone puts a fine performance in. Sammy is rocking. Great stuff. Then we get Oh Yeah. Great track. Something you'd expect from Sammy. This is a typical Sammy sort of rock song. Great vocal. Really strong vocal from Sammy on that one. Running Out. There's some great wah wah on this. I love the wah wah. The solo from Joe is really good as well. Superb little track. Get It Up, one of my favourite tracks on this album. You've got this great bass line from Michael that drives the song, and on top of that, nice delicate pieces of guitar work and licks and riffs from Joe. You know, and you throw in Chad on the drums and Sammy, you've got a great track. Then we get my favourite track on this, and this is my favourite track by Chickenfoot, Down the Drain. Catchy riffs, thumping bass lines, Sammy's best vocal on this. What more do you need? It is just brilliant. My Kind of Girl, one of them sort of radio friendly tracks. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit too radio friendly. Learning to Fall, one of the slower tracks on this album. Joe's guitar solo in this is absolutely amazing. Backing vocals on here, as ever, by Michael, and what great vocal it is. Goes back to them great days with Van Halen. Turning Left is the next track. This is one of them, what I call, starts off with one of the chugger riffs and a great bass line. Gets you hooked straight away. Solid track. Future in the Past, and this is a slower sort of track, but it's got a great bass line from Michael. Chad's drumming on this is great. It's sort of he was right in his element on this. This is the sort of slow sort of track from you get from the Chili Peppers. That's a great track to end the album. Great album. I prefer this one to the second one by a smidge. There's not much between it, but I don't know. I think it's Down the Drain that really tipped it, because it's my favourite track. But again, Michael and Sammy working together again, it was just a treat to hear it. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, as I said at the top of the show, I'm going to mention their live album. It's absolutely brilliant. It's called LV. It was originally released as a bonus to a package of the first 2 albums, but then they eventually released it on its own. The first side includes tracks from the 2012 Different Devil tour, their second tour, and the B side includes the band's first tour. Now, on the 2012 tour, Chad was so committed to doing stuff with Red Hot Chili Peppers, they had to bring in another drummer, and they brought in Kenny Arnonoff. So the people playing on here are Sammy Hagar, Joe Satriani, Michael Anthony, Chad Smiths on tracks 5 to 9, and Kenny Arnonoff on tracks 1 to 4. Okay, I'll just quickly go through the tracks on here. Lighten Up, which was recorded in Chicago. Bigfoot, Last Temptation, Something Going Wrong, Down the Drain, fantastic live. Oh Yeah, brilliant live. Turning Left is great on here as well. My Kind of Girl, Learning to Fall. Now, the one track they missed off here, and I'm going to put it in the playlist for you, and it's their version of Highway Star. It absolutely rocks. You got to remember, there are no keyboards on this, but Joe Satriani just does everything on it, and it's absolutely brilliant. I will put them in. Now, I shall also put the best versions of Down the Drain, although it's my favourite track on the debut album. I'm going to put the live version on because it's brilliant, and I'm going to put Highway Star on for you. It's a great album. They sound a lot better. They're brilliant in the studio, but they sound far better on stage. It's an absolute belter of a live album. I mean, if I was going to give this a ranking, it'd be somewhere between 8, 8.5. The production on it is superb. Okay, that's all for part 6. Next week we get to the final part of the Sammy Hagar story, and it's another supergroup, and it will be called The Circle. So very similar sort of albums, but they have got a new album coming out, so we'll talk about that more next week. Today's retro ranking, which is coming up a bit later, is a very special one today. I'll talk about more of that when it comes up, but it's a very special one because today is a very special anniversary in rock and roll history. So I will see you for that later, so bye for now.